Hey, can you hear me okay, PJ?
I can. Darren, how are you?
Frame yourself there.
Great. Thanks for having me.
Where am I getting you from, LA?
No, I'm in Westport, Connecticut.
Wow, okay. I knew that you went to University of Hartford. I didn't realize you were a Connecticut lifer.
Yeah. I spent a lot of time in LA over the past few years writing and recording, but I've been here for through quarantine and stuff. So I'm back out in LA coming up in August and back in the swing of things.
Cool, got it. Well, the latest single is Every Little Heartbreak. When did you write it? When did you finish it?
We wrote it last March, or no, last May, 2020, kind of fresh into lockdown. I wrote it with Garrison Starr and Valerie Broussard, and I've collaborated with them both a bunch. And we wanted to write a positive, uplifting song for the end of quarantine. We knew it was going to end one day,
Mm-hmm.
and people were probably going to want something uplifting and ready to run free and break out and like take a risk and ready for anything. So that's the kind of vibe we went for. Didn't want to be too lovey-dovey romantic, but it does hint on romance. It's basically I've taken a risk about with anything in life, anything, career, love, anything.
I've been familiar with Garrison Starr since the late 90s because she was on some albums on the label E Pluribus Unum. It was Adam Duritz' label that had the Gigolo Ants and Nielsen Hubbard, and she was on some of those records. How did you first find out about Garrison?
Um, her song Superhero was constantly playing in this. I used to work in a head shop years ago, and her song Superhero would come on, and I was like, what the hell's that song? That's so cool. And then it just grew on me. I started covering it. And then fast forward a few years later, we ended up on the same roster in Europe, booking agency. So we kind of connected through the roster, and then she sang on a record of mine, and then we've hit it off, and we've done so much stuff since then. She's like a sister to me. I love her to death.
That is a better story than what I was anticipating. I think these days you hear, well, my publisher said that we'd get along, so we got together and we wrote some songs, and that was it.
No, it wasn't one of those. It was like I was like hesitant to reach out to her, and our agent at the time, she was like, I think you guys would hit it off. I really do. I think I know you both now, and trust me, just reach out to her. I needed a female voice on the song
Mm-hmm.
at the time, and I have no other voice than that one in my head. So she said, yeah, and that's the rest is history. It's pretty cool.
So looking at your credits, you've had a lot more success with sync licensing than most artists on major labels, I would argue.
Oh, wow.
That's, that is a compliment. Is that because you have a team pitching you or good luck? Any idea?
I think it's a little of both. I think it's the thing about sync is you can pretty much write a very syncable song and hit the lyrics right on the head with what the supervisors and publishers want. But then it's all timing. It's so much stuff that has to line up the right way. And they kind of want it one stop, just one clearance from one outlet instead of 3 or 4. There's so many things that have to line up. But yeah, I mean, you do have to have a good team, I think, pitching you for sure.
Did you ever get stuck in the trap of, we want a song within the next 48 hours that sounds exactly like this, but is just different enough that it is not Clocks by Coldplay or one of those?
Yeah, completely. Yeah, that happens a lot, and write a song about the sky being blue, but don't say blue, stuff like that. There's a trick to it for sure. And it took a little while to get it, but once I got it, I understood it. It's totally different brain than writing a pop song or an Americana country song, a different type of song. Writing for sync, TV, film, it's a different type of writing for sure.
Some of the success that you've had has been off of covers, and some artists are afraid of covers because the publishing money is not coming to them. I'm guessing that was never thought in your mind. It was more of I like this song. I have an idea for making this different. Let's do it. Done.
Yeah, pretty much. I wasn't really thinking dollar signs. I was just thinking, how can I make it my own? It really hit home. I've done Christopher Cross's Sailing in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of wanted to make that dark. I mean, I didn't really even know that was a dark song until I actually read the lyrics without the song playing. It sounds such like.
Is it?
It is. It's such a happy sounding song, but like he's talking, it's not far down to paradise on a sailboat. It's not the most uplifting thing. So I kind of I
Wait, so that song is, I gotta cut you off there. That song is partially about a boat cats potentially capsizing?
well, I mean, he's looking down. He's looking down to paradise. I don't know. I mean, I took it differently once I read them like without the music playing. And I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but that's just the way I interpreted it, and that's the way it came out. I gave it a little darker twist. The video is a little weird. I remember the director was like, "Your character is a combo between Ali Sheedy in The Breakfast Club and Robin Williams in 1 Hour Photo." And I was like, "Okay, done, got it. I know both characters."
Wow, so not afraid of the dark side when you need to do it.
No, not at all. Plenty of happy stuff. Some people, don't want to hear the yay, hurrah, cotton candy, unicorns all the time. Sometimes
That is definitely true. So when I asked you up front, Every Little Heartbreak, that's the new song, blah, 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 blah. A lot of new songs in the can, or did you hold back a little bit during quarantine? Because I'm seeing it both ways with artists during the pandemic.
Yeah, I did a lot of both. I wrote a lot for my band, Signals and Smoke, and I wrote a lot for Sync and for me, because I have a new album coming out at the end of this year, or maybe in the fall. Release date isn't slated yet, but definitely this year. So yeah, I found a group of producers and writers that I've already worked with and I know well, who all wanted to work last year while we were all sitting, right here. And we wrote a bunch. Like Valerie was in LA, Garrison was in LA, my producers are in Virginia, some were in Nashville. I just wrote about 30 songs, and a bunch went to the band, and some went to my record, and then some went to TV and film to hopefully land. So I was pretty, I don't know, we were busy. Courtesy of my friends, my close group of friends and writers and producers, we stayed pretty busy.
Are you waiting to see in general with the album release date based on when you can tour? Is that what the holdup is?
I don't know. I don't think touring is an issue yet. I think it's just lining stuff up with other releases that are coming out on the label. And I'm going to do another single in another month, and then I think another one after that. So we're going to stagger some singles and then do the record. But no, touring hasn't come up yet. Although I'm interested in doing that. I have a local show here this month that sold out pretty quickly. And then I just booked Hotel Cafe in Los Angeles for November. So I'm slowly, and I'm looking at Nashville in September. So slowly things are getting back out there, some one-offs. But as far as like a few weeks at a time, nothing of that yet.
It's a weird time that I'm interviewing you right now, because in the last 3 hours, they've started announcing full capacity vaccinated shows here in New York. Like the Foo Fighters announced a show for 2 weeks or so from today at the Garden. That's 100% capacity. And the Strokes are playing Irving Plaza, which is like 1,000-ish people for a benefit show in New York City. But at the same time, interviews that I did yesterday with a Universal Canada artist who's going, well, I hope we can tour in the near future. And you go, so it's closed there, but it's open here.
Yeah, it's a lot of mixed signals. But I mean, hey, it all looks positive. It all looks on the up. As long as everything's cool and everyone's being safe. And I was watching the golf this weekend. I was watching hockey last night, and people are in the stands, people are in the gallery. Stuff's happening again. So far so good. I just remain as safe as possible for as long as possible.
Well, you don't sound like you were idle over the last year and change based on the output you just told me about, but did you discover any new hobbies or take on any creative passions in place of all that? Because you were on the road, 150-ish shows a year prior to all this going down.
Yeah, I'm a yogi. I practice yoga pretty religiously. So I learned how to do that on my own instead of in a studio full of sweaty people. And it's a different dynamic. And now I actually kind of prefer it. I'm really used to it now. It's much more of a meditative thing for me, which I struggle to get into. But now I've really hit home with it. It's kind of a different practice for me now. And walks. Took a ton of walks, and I still do. Like 2.5 hour walks. Like really, I just, both yoga solo and long walks is really, and then my girlfriend and I, more my girlfriend, but we started cooking a lot more too. I think a lot of people did.
I found that my musical taste really, really changed in the last year and change. Did that happen at all, or am I alone in that one?
It didn't really change. What I did was like, I tried to walk almost every day because what the hell else was I going to do? So, and then I started running out of stuff to listen to. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go back to nostalgia and all my stuff from my growing up, from my teens, like all my punk stuff, new wave stuff, metal stuff, hip hop. I just dove into nostalgia, and it would really be like a time travel, which was really cool for me. But I was always keeping up. I was mostly listening to a lot of my friends' stuff too. Like if I'm not listening to older stuff that I grew up listening to and influences like that, I'm mostly listening to what my friends are doing. I love all my friends in general, but the ones that I work with, they blow me away with their talent. And they're just,
Sure.
even though I write with them sometimes and sing with them, or sometimes I don't, whatever they do, I'm just like, man, my friends are so cool.
Well, I find, even though you like your friends a lot, which hey, I'm fans of them as well. I find that singer-songwriters, most of them that I know, they listen to the opposite of music from what they play. So
Yeah.
for example, I've one who writes stuff that's very McCartney Ram-esque kind of stuff, and then he's always listening to death metal and really hard stuff otherwise. Do you ever go in that way?
Yeah, I've had people say that to me before, like, how come you don't emote the stuff that you listen to, you know, like, and it's a good question. I don't really know how to answer that. Like Jane's Addiction is huge on my influence list. And I mean, I don't sound anything like Perry or those guitars. Like The Cure, maybe there's a little bit in some of my newer stuff, but you know, it's a really punk, hardcore, Bad Brains, you know, like that's not coming out in my stuff. I'm writing like some acoustic stuff. Like, I don't know. I don't know what the actual answer is to that, but that's such a good question. And 9 times out of 10, it's true with most artists.
So does that ever lead you down the rabbit hole of going, maybe I should have a metal side project?
True. Yeah, maybe. Punk, metal. I did release some hip hop stuff down a few years ago, which was pretty interesting. I do some hip hop stuff for Sync as well. And my label mate, Immortal Technique, once said, he was like, dude, if you ever do a side project that's hip hop, your alias should be AJ Atlantico. And I thought that was rather genius. So that's in the back of my mind, AJ Atlantico.
That or a great April Fool's Day 2022 joke.
Right.
Where you have that domain and you have the website up and you talk about your change in direction. So one or the other, that kind of works.
Keep them on their toes.
Exactly. So to kind of recap what we've spoken about, you got the single out, giving people hope, working with some people that you've worked with before. There's another single coming out before this new record, which is going to come out. You'll tour when the time is right. Mm-hmm. You got non-album stuff also coming out in the near future. Yeah, you sound pretty accomplished. You sound fine.
Thanks, man. It's always, you know, a lot of anxiety-filled days in this business, but then there are the great days as well that, you know, you jump over the moon. It's up and down, it's up and down.
And down and up and down, exactly. Hey, as an interviewer, it's no different. You get days when you say, hey, I'd like to interview so-and-so, and then the person basically tells you you're not legit enough to talk to their talent. And then something happens to me, like last night I got to ask a question of Brian Wilson. You go, I thought I wasn't legit enough for this, but legit enough for Brian Wilson. Well, it's going to be like that for you. I'd assume you get a big sync and then you get 10 rejections and then you get a maybe.
Yeah. There's definitely a lot of those. This might happen. This could happen.
It's locked. It's locked right now.
There's such a possibility of this happening. We just wanted to let you know that it might happen.
And then have you ever had it, I hope this never happened to you, where it was totally locked, it was totally happening, and then you find out that, oh no, it's going to be a DVD extra though. That's cool, right?
Totally. But I mean, you know what? Initially it's kind of a bummer, but you got to step back and be like, I'm grateful. You know, I got those little bummers to some people. And if the 10-year ago me found out about that, I'd be flipping out. So like, there's 2 ways to look at it. And, you know, you gotta be grateful with every hit that you make, and all those misses, you just got to keep swinging because you learn from all of them. At least I do. And
sure.
It's not cut out for everybody, but I don't know. My advice to anyone who's starting out or still in it is just don't give up.
Wow.
Don't give up.
I'm not going to top that one. So my last two quick questions, then you're free. First one is, do you have a TV recommendation you could pass along to somebody who needs a new show to start?
Oh, let's see. I just did the Halston one. That was kind of interesting. I knew nothing about that dude. Of course, there's always Ozark, but that's old news.
It's old news unless you haven't seen it. Then it's new news.
Right. Oh, I just checked out. It's not a TV, but I checked out the new Pink documentary. That was kind of interesting. I'm into documentaries big time.
Sure.
I don't know why I'm spacing on TV right now.
No, you just gave me 3 picks right there. I think that's sufficient. With the Pink documentary, is there a bombshell in the middle of it? I don't know anything about it yet.
No, it's mostly just like some live footage, but a lot of behind the scenes footage on her tour and her bringing her kids and her family on tour and how much her family is priority. And those crazy shows that you see and all of her acrobatics, like she takes family first and they're on the road with her the whole time. It's pretty interesting.
Cool. I'm always looking for a music documentary, so I'll slot that one on the list. Thank you very much. And the last question, PJ, or should I say AJ Atlantico, which please don't lose that idea. That's a great idea. Any last words for the kids?
For the kids, oh boy. You are the future. Never forget that. Never forget how important you are. Never forget how important it is to pay attention these days to everything around you and to be cooler than the person you think is the coolest person and to be nicer to them and love more and emote as much love as you can to the world because we need it now more than ever.
Again, not going to top that. PJ, thank you so much for your time and hope to see you live in New York when things are fully opened up and et cetera, man.
Yeah, man, likewise. I'd love to see it.
Thank you so much. Have a great rest of the day.
You too. Thanks.
Take care.
Paltrocast.